Coming up on Extra Credit, we'll be shooting for the stars in this episode. We'll go from learning to make pendulum art to learning about being in space with Jessica Meir. Welcome to Extra Credit, where we meet interesting people, explore new ideas, and discover fun places together. I'm your host, Ben. Today, we look into the outer space and meet people who risked everything to follow their dreams. First up, let's launch into astronaut Jessica's experience being part of the first all-female spacewalk.
Are you curious about careers in science?
Hi, I'm Jenilyn, and today I'm with astronaut Jessica Meir. Jessica, how long have you been an astronaut, and what is it like?
I've been an astronaut since 2013, but it's something that I've thought about my entire life. I started saying I wanted to be an astronaut when I was 5 years old, and I was just curious about that world around me, about the plants and the animals, and biology was my favorite subject. And that led to an interest in space as well.
How is STEM incorporated into your job?
So actually, in order to become an astronaut, you have to have a degree in a STEM field. So any kind of science, technology, engineering, math degree, that really is the building block of everything that we do as astronauts.
What's it like in outer space?
I was on the International Space Station for almost 7 months. I had the biggest smile on my face, and that smile really didn't leave the entire mission, all 7 months. It just never gets old to be floating all of the time and to be looking out the window and having the most extraordinary view. I wish that I could share that view with everybody on the planet. I really think it's this perspective that allows us to see how connected we truly are as humans and that we really are all in this together. So I've thought a lot about the first all-female spacewalk that I was part of with my colleague and friend, Christina Koch. Now, of course, there had been other women that walked in space before us, but it was the first time that there were 2 women outside at the same time. And I think both Christina and I would say we didn't really look at it as a personal achievement for us. Instead, it was more paying tribute to the generations of women and other minorities that came before us. And now it's our duty to inspire the next generations of women and minorities that will come and continue that progress forward.
Talking with astronaut Jessica Meir was out of this world. Explore your possibilities.
In 1962, something historic happened. John Glenn made history by being the first American to orbit the Earth. Let's learn more about his experience in the next segment. So, let's blast off.
Godspeed, John Glenn.
Subscribe for more space.
Welcome to Your Space Place, where I boast about the Space Coast. And I'm Kristen, your host. Today we're diving into the history behind the Columbia missions and why Columbia Elementary in Palm Bay, Florida is named after them. The NASA Space Shuttle Columbia was launched for the first time in 1981 from Kennedy Space Center and was the first flight of the Space Shuttle program. Serving for over 22 years, it completed 27 missions, including one with the first sitting member of the House of Representatives, Bill Nelson. On the 28th mission, February 1st, 2003, there was a tragedy. When the shuttle re-entered the atmosphere, it completely disintegrated. 7 crew members died. To honor the name, Columbia Elementary talks about what happened, the opportunities and technology that surround how they avoided future tragedies, and more.
Columbia Elementary was named after the Columbia Space Shuttle. The tragedy that occurred in 2003 was very impactful on the students that were attending Columbia at that time.
Immediately following the Columbia disaster, we really spend a lot of time with the kids kind of talking about the actual impact of that. And we did a lot of work with having them write poems and letting them get their feelings out that way. Because our school is named after the Columbia Shuttle, I think it's important for kids to know why. Why are we the school that was named after the Columbia, and what makes that special? And I just feel like our kids really are proud of that fact, that our school was named after one of the shuttles.
I think it is very important for us to remember Columbia as in general, because it was a very important historical moment.
It kind of makes me feel like honored and proud to go to a school named after a shuttle that it's like memorial type. And it's like, it makes me feel proud, like really honored and really proud to go to a school named after a shuttle that had a disaster.
It's important for us to have artifacts and commemoration to the Columbia crew. Throughout our campus, we have various murals. Every classroom has a framed photo of the crew. We have commemorated the 900 building in honor of the crew, so there's a plaque there along with a poem written by a student in 2004. We have many trees that have been planted in commemoration for each of the astronauts, and we really believe that's important for our students to stay connected to the heritage of the shuttle, to the impact that the shuttle had on the space program, and the connection to our local community. STEM is very important for us here at Columbia. We know that it's super important for us to prepare kids with critical thinking skills, with opportunities in science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and the arts. We have a gifted and talented program where students are able to work on individualized STEM-based projects. One of those is what we call the Sea Perch team. And our students on the Sea Perch team have worked with local volunteers to build a robotic vehicle that travels underneath the water.
Sea Perch is a program that's created from the Office of Naval Research and MIT. It's giving the concept of engineering for our students in their future. It's a submersible, ROV, remotely operated vehicle, that uses a lot of the STEM initiatives.
The Sea Perch and STEM program is a program that helps us build engineering skills by helping us like being able to cut the stuff and being hands-on, and like you're actually thinking about, if I do this, what would happen after that? If I do that, what would happen after this? It's helping us be persistent and trying our best and not just giving up.
Some of the skill sets we have for the students that we're teaching with the Sea Perch is basically teaching them the structural engineering, the electrical engineering, the mechanical engineering skill sets, whether they're putting the Sea Perch in the water, learning about buoyancy, or just simply the measurements. These skills are vital for engineering. Teamwork is another big one. Working together, having project managers, I think those are really real-world skills that our students can use in our STEM programs here.
It's pretty cool, and it gives us a lot of information and education of things that we need to know when we grow up, like how different things work and why they work and what makes them work. The foundation for our future is very important because we will remember everything that we're taught, and it will help us to succeed and go the right path. There's not much female scientists, female technicians, or being a female would change
Our buddy
that.
Genesis meets astronomer
Being in the STEM
Jillian to
program,
learn more about what she
you
does,
can grow
how
up
science
and
and
end up being one of
technology is
those
involved in her
and
job,
making history.
and what makes her job cool.
I think STEM is important because without STEM, we wouldn't have a lot of things that we have today. I think it's important to learn these skills because you never know what job you might take as an engineering career or a NASA career or an Air Force career. It's always important to have these life skills no matter what.
My experience and my connection here at Columbia is really personal and it's passionate. Having been a Navy veteran, I actually served on board the USS Coral Sea in the late 80s with William McCool, who was on the space shuttle. When I realized that I could be part of such a STEM and STEAM initiative here at the school, I just felt really honored and privileged because the world needs STEM and STEAM. It's our future, and I think it's important that we encourage our students at this level because they're at a point where they're seeking knowledge, and we actually can help them think and understand and prepare for the unknown of technology and engineering through STEM and STEAM.
It's inspiring to me to know that we are preparing students for a future in the sciences. My hope is that our students have a strong foundation and opportunities to grow and to understand and to be ready for both college and career. Our students being exposed to hands-on science and STEM projects really gives them that foundation. You can see the excitement and also a sense of importance that their campus is not just a run-of-the-mill elementary school, but really an elementary school that's tied to the space program and to such a great legacy.
It's important that we remember history and keep those memories alive. The Space Coast has been so essential to space exploration, and it's so awesome to see that a school
Now,
like Columbia
let's get
Elementary
creative.
is teaching students
How about we
about
mix
the
our
reason
art
behind the name.
abilities with the concepts of
That's all for
pendulums
today's
to make our
episode of
own
Your Space
masterpiece.
Place. I'll see you
Sounds
next time,
fun?
space fans.
What are we waiting
Always
for?
remember to reach for the stars.
Are you curious about careers in science?
Hi, I'm Genesis, and today I'm here with Dr. Jillian Bellaveri. Jillian, can you tell me where you are and what you do?
I am in New York City, and I am an astronomer and a professor at Queensborough Community College.
Tell me what you do at your job.
I study things in space. In particular, I study black holes. A black hole is something that is so dense that nothing can escape it, not even light. So bummer for everything in there. There is one black hole that has had a picture taken of it, which is in the center of a galaxy called M87. Sometimes we can see gas that's glowing really, really brightly, and we can figure out that that's because it's near a black hole. And we can detect black holes if they merge with other black holes.
How is STEM incorporated into your job?
STEM is my job. I am analyzing computer simulations of galaxies. So I use computer programming. I do some graphing, I do some math. By using computer simulations, I can make predictions about what's going on in the universe. And then I can let my colleagues know what I'm predicting and ask them to go and look for the things that I'm telling them that are there. And maybe sometimes they find them, which is pretty exciting. So astronomers never work alone. You have a group. You can talk about all your weird ideas. It's no fun if I discover something cool and then I don't tell anybody about it. And so we can work on our ideas together.
What's the most rewarding part of your job?
Mentoring students. I love watching students have the mind blown moment.
What is your advice to kids, especially girls, who are interested in a career like yours?
If you love space and if you think it's really fun to think about all the weird stuff in space, it's a really fun way to be creative, but also you can really make a difference and think about real things in the universe.
I'm over the moon that I get to learn about astronomy with Jillian Bellaveri. Explore your possibilities.
we are talking pendulums today, and we're going to use pendulums and some paint to make some pendulum art. Are you guys ready? I am so excited. So you might be saying to yourself, what is a pendulum? Well, a pendulum is this. And what's really cool about this is I have this thing hanging right here. This is called the bob. Now the bob is actually tied to a string, which goes from the bob all the way to the pivot point, and that's where it's hanging from. It's a little off screen right now. That's because it's super duper tall, and really, you don't need to see that anyway, because all you need to know is that this is a pendulum. And in fact, pendulums, when they swing, that's called the period. So for example, when I let this go, 1 1,000, 2 1,000, and it comes back to me in approximately 2 seconds. That's the period. Now, because the string length hasn't changed, I can lift it higher and let it go 1 1,000, 2 1,000, still 2 seconds. I can let it go here 1 1,000, 2 1,000. It stays the same. If you want to change the period length, we have to change the length of the actual pendulum. But for today's experiment, we're going to keep it at about this length. Now, what else do you need for this? It's pretty simple. Well, you don't need the washers. That was in there just so that the pendulum would actually swing. But here I have like a ketchup bottle. I love ketchup, by the way. So I have a ketchup bottle that I cut off the bottom so that I could put paint in there. And then I have the lid, which allows me to put the paint in and not get paint all over the place. I took a rubber band and some paper clips and I rigged it up so that it actually would just hang there by itself without really having to do too much. And because it's rubber bands, it kind of self-levels itself, which is a good thing. The other thing you're going to need is some paint. So I picked some of my favorite colors today: purple, turquoise, yellow, black, and we're going to use these colors and have a little bit of fun making some pendulum art. Are you guys ready for this? It doesn't matter if you do this on paper, leftover pizza trays that you get from the grocery. I have a canvas we're going to try this on. I have a big canvas. I have some little canvases. I've got some scrap paper that I found. It doesn't really matter. Whatever you have to make your art is all that matters. So we're going to use this for a tester. Yeah, we use that for a tester. And I'm going to start with yellow because I think yellow will contrast really nicely with this. So here's the trick. Getting this poured in there. There we go. Ooh. All right. So when I open this up, it's going to pour all over the place. I think we need a bigger thing. Oh, and the ratio to paint I used, it was about 1 to 1. So I used like basically half a cup of paint to half a cup of water. And you'll be able to adjust yours so that it flows nicely. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1. It is working amazingly. Oh my gosh, that that looks amazing. Now I'm gonna grab it off the side. See how I did that? That way I didn't mess up my art. I'm gonna add a little bit more yellow to it, and I'm gonna come down the opposite direction. I'm gonna go the opposite direction and see what happens. You ready? In 3, 2, 1. Ooh, almost went off the table. Oh my gosh, that looks so awesome. How many did I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll do 2 more. 1, 2. I'm gonna stop it out here. That looks so cool. That is amazing. All right, I only have 1 of these, so I'm gonna dump out the remaining paint that I have for the yellow, and I'm gonna rinse this out really quick. Let's do purple. I wanna do purple. I think purple and yellow look really cool together. So we're gonna pour some purple in. Ooh, there's a clump. Hope that doesn't clog up my... Let's see. Okay, it's hanging pretty straight. Let me lift this one up a little bit. It's not perfect. It's not perfect, but that's okay. All right, here we go. I'm gonna take this one right here through the center. All right, here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Oh, got a good flow, got a good flow. Nice. That looks Amazing. We're gonna, oh, that's all right. That looks so cool. What I love about this, you could go outside and hang a huge monster string from a tree limb. Look at that. That looks so awesome. Doesn't that look cool? All right, I think we should try one more. And what's really cool about this, made a little bit of a mess. What's cool about this, if I lift this, because it's on a canvas, oh, I don't want to drip. Don't drip, don't drip, don't drip, don't drip. I'm gonna, whoa, look at that. It should be okay on the counter. All right, we're gonna try one more. This time, oops, already got some paint on it. This time we're going to set these like 3 and then we can hang them up. Bring them closer together. A little bit closer together. All right, perfect. We'll stick with purple since I already have purple in there. I'm gonna kind of try like a circle-ish. All right, that's cool. Got our circle going. And when it's off the side, I'm gonna take that off and then I'm gonna bring it right down the center. It looks like a planet. It looks like Saturn. All right, that's awesome. I'm gonna pour this out. I'm gonna get as much of the purple out as possible because I wanna get some black in there. So I'm gonna rinse this out. In 3, 2, 1. Yeah, there we go. And we got that back on, just like that. Super, super duper easy. Maybe. The rubber bands are soaked. All right, we're gonna throw in some black. I don't know if I should do black. Yeah. No. Yeah. Yeah, we'll do black. Ooh, black is a little bit runnier than the others. All right. Get it pretty straight. Here we go. I'm actually going to try to do the circle again. Ooh, that is pouring out fast. And then I'm going to take it this way. Oh, I messed up right there. Oh, there's no such thing as mess up in art. Ooh, that looks good. I'm gonna just right here. And then I'm gonna dump this out and I wanna put some of this turquoise. I'm just gonna mix the turquoise.
Thanks for learning with us and I hope it's been fun.
That will look
I know
cool.
I had a great time learning about outer space. I'll leave you all with a little chin scratcher. If you could explore outer space, what would you study? Think it over. All right, see ya.
It's kind of thick. See what it does. All right, here we go. Turquoise. Start on this corner right here. Oh, that looks so awesome. Whoop, almost off the table. Oh, we're starting to get some drips. We're gonna let this turquoise go. It is mesmerizing to watch. That is absolutely mesmerizing. I think the turquoise is my favorite color on the canvas right now. It's getting smaller, smaller. The trick now is I have to get it off of there without making a big mess. And there is my artwork. Look at my hand. That's from catching it. You know, this is actually something you might want to try outside, but give it a try. Mix colors. You can work on mixing colors and seeing what colors you get. You can bigger canvases, bigger lengths of string, which gives you a longer period. Try shorter pieces of string. Try different designs. Can you get different designs? And just have some fun with it. Be DIY smarter by getting your art on with this awesome pendulum art. I can't wait to show you what this looks like when it dries.
Hey guys, thanks for learning with us, and I hope it's been fun. I know I had a great time learning about outer space. I'll leave you all with a little chin scratcher. If you could explore outer space, what would you study? Think it over. All right, see ya.
This program is made possible in part by Michigan Department of Education, the State of Michigan, and by viewers like you.